Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Roadmap to Freedom. We're at the fifth session of the first theme of the project. Our civilization is in a crisis. And because our weaponry is so powerful, the outcome of a non-peaceful resolution of it can bring an end to our civilization. I think everyone understands that. Will the patient recover or die? Will our civilization survive or perish? And yet people still ask, how can you be so certain that there won't be any survivors? Well, maybe few Bushmen or some aborigines living in a cave somewhere. But it would take tens of thousands of years, if ever, for future survivors to again reach our present level of technological achievement. How long do you think it would take those aborigines to build big digital watches or smartphones? Long time. People say, wait a minute, a political leader would have to be totally insane to launch a nuclear attack. He has people he cares about too. I agree. He would have to be totally insane, but do you think that we can safely assume that all political leaders are sane? The late Chairman Mao boasted that in a nuclear war, China could lose 300 million people and still be victorious. It sounds like a statement of a lunatic to me. There are many naive people who have confidence that our national defense program will protect us from nuclear attack. Ladies and gentlemen, I have pretty bad news for you. There is no national defense in this country or anywhere, as far as I know. The ability to retaliate with a nuclear attack must not be confused with defense against nuclear attack. There's no defense. All we can do is retaliate. As far as I am concerned, there's little consolation in the knowledge that if everybody in Los Angeles wiped out tomorrow, then everybody in Beijing and Moscow will be obliterated shortly thereafter. Is this any consolation to you? It's certainly not to me. The Road to Freedom project purpose is to precisely identify the fundamental cause of the crisis. What is the cause of this recent crisis? Because if we fail to accurately articulate the specific cause of this crisis, then our failure at the correction of the crisis will be a certainty. But what if we cannot correctly identify the source of the failure? Then the failure will continue, and the crisis generated by the failure will continue to increase in its severity. And so, I'm going to identify several of the principal causes that led to this social crisis. However, it will not be possible for me to prove conclusively in one talk alone all that represent the various causes that have led to this crisis. There are a number of them, but they will be fully demonstrated in the full context of this course. All right, here it is. First failure that I will discuss, and this is the failure of identify correctly cause and effect relationships outside of the physical science. In the history of physical sciences, as we indicated, the discoveries of one man more than anybody else have enabled us to greatly expand our comprehension of cause and effect relationship in nature. This man, of course, the incomparable Isaac Newton. For example, the cause of the ocean tides is finally described by Newton's discoveries. A tide is an effect that anyone can witness. But what is the cause of a tide? Well, Newton's law of gravitation explains that the tidal phenomena are caused by the force of the moon and the sun's gravitational attraction. And once understanding the cause, you can predict the exact moment in time when the tidal peak or the tidal depression will be reached. However, before before Newton's explanation of cause and effect, what was the explanation for that? There were many fantastic explanations for the cause of tides. There were many who believed that the tides are caused by god Poseidon, or maybe Neptune. God of the sea is responsible for that. When Neptune inhales, the oceans rise, then Neptune exhales, the ocean fall. What other explanation could there be? We sacrificed hundreds, if not thousands, of young men and women to pacify the god by throwing them into the shark infested waters, begging Neptune for good fishing season, for example. And the phenomenon was not understood until Newton came along and clearly articulated cause and effect. Now we know Neptune has nothing to do with it. During this time that Newton was making his great discoveries in physics in 1965, 1966, let's look at our ability to understand cause and effect relationship in the second science, the biology. What did we know about cause and effect at the time Newton was accomplishing his works 3 centuries ago? For example, what if the country was being ravaged by the bubonic plague? Well, anyone can witness the effect. Deaths everywhere. Few families are left untouched. People ask, what could cause such an incredible, great catastrophe? Many will conclude that only one explanation for this cause, the devil, or witches, known agent of the devil, perhaps warlocks. This is the male version of the witches spreading the Black Death. A solution? Since we cannot burn the devil, we do the next best thing. What's that? Anyone? Burn witches. Excellent suggestion. And the result? Thousands of men, women, children are convicted of the charge of being a witch or warlock. The warlock was the male, as I said, counterpart of the female witch. A sentence, either usually being tortured, then would be tied to a stake and systematically burned alive. Now the question we might just ask today is, did the authorities who sentenced these unfortunate people to death for being witches or warlocks, did they correctly understood and identify cause and effect? Was the Black Plague actually caused by witches or by something else? Let's stop here and continue our cause and effect discussion next time. Meantime, please think about this question. What if we identified cause of change of weather and temperature on the planet wrongly? Can we find cure for its occurrence? Until next